After a Lake Norman area tennis coach is charged with child sex crimes, parents are now bringing new details to light.
Stephen Kerlew is now facing criminal charges, but a whistleblower tells WCNC Charlotte she raised concerns over Kerlew's history years before this arrest. Our Tradisha Woodard gives us a closer look at that alleged warning and how Kerlew continued working.
And that man should not be around children.
A local tennis coach who wishes to remain anonymous says the focus isn't just on the charges Stephen Kerlew now faces. It's also on the warnings that came before them. Warnings she says she documented with receipts.
I sent an email with Stephen Kerlew's background check.
These emails show her contacting Kerlew's most recent employer, Willie Dan, with Westport Swim and Tennis in Denver, North Carolina back in 2023.
He responded and asked me to give him a call. He was standoffish. He was indifferent.
She says she thought the information would have sparked action, but instead, Kerlew was able to remain employed, raising questions about accountability.
I really didn't think twice about it because I didn't think this guy would keep him on staff.
Lincoln County deputies arrested the 64-year-old former tennis professional on June 5th on child sex crime charges. But records show the allegations against Kerlew are not the first of their kind. Important law enforcement records filed in Florida show Kerlew faced similar child sex-related charges in the early 2000s. I looked at the list kept by the USTA and the U.S. Center for Safe Sport. They both list Kerlew facing a misconduct classification of criminal disposition involving a minor. The Safe Sport database says he's been ineligible to participate in events organized by the United States Tennis Association since April of 2021.
You think a country club or anyone working with children would just do a standard background check when hiring somebody? If someone like this has access to children, you're opening the gate for them.
Despite his history, he continued working at 2 different clubs around young athletes before his arrest. I reached out to Dan about the emails he received. He says years after hiring Kerlew, the club became aware of allegations, but they couldn't be sustained, and there were no grounds for termination. He says once they learned of recent charges, Kerlew was then terminated in hours.
I have no words for that, where he was warned years ago.
As the investigation continues, some are hopeful that officials will actually look into safeguards in determining whether or not there's enough in place to prevent situations like this from happening again. Reporting in the newsroom, Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.